So here we are in a new Python video. In this video, I'm going to explain you what are static variables, what are instance variables, what are class methods, static methods, and instance methods. This will be very clear to you after you watch this video until the end. Okay, so let's start. Let's start with the static variables. They are also called class variables and they are shared by all objects. Instance or non-static variables, on the other hand, they are different for different objects. Every object has a copy of it. All variables defined at a class level in Python are considered static. So let's see, here we have a class called student, and we have created here a static variable called course. It's equal to calculus right now, and here in the init function, we're going to create instance variables called name and age, and we're going to assign the value of name and age, and this should be whatever we pass here as arguments when we create an object of this class. And that's what we do next. Here we have two objects, A and B. In the first object A, I pass as parameters for name David and for age 21. And for the second object, I pass as parameters name Adrian and age 22. So let's see. Now I am going to print this cell here, and for the first two outputs we have calculus. We have accessed the course static variable for A and for B, so they are the same, they are calculus, because remember, class or static variables are shared by all objects. Now in a.name and b.name we have different outputs because they are instance variables and they are different for A and B. And for age we have different outputs also because they are different for A and for B. Okay, so class variables can be accessed using the class name. We don't need to create an object to access the class variables. So if I do this, student.course, then I will have calculus as an output because we can access class variables in this way, and we haven't created any object here. Okay, so I can change this course variable for A. I'm going to assign the value of physics. So let's see what's the output of this cell. For A, it's physics, but for the class itself, it is still calculus. So I change course for an instance of a class, which is A, but the class variable is still calculus. I can change the value of this class variable with the class name dot course, and I am going to say this is equal to topology right now, and let's see what's the output of this cell. Okay, so a.course is still physics, but now student.course is topology. If I create another instance of this class, then if I access the course variable, then it will be topology. Okay, so this is everything for class variables. Now let's see the methods. This is very confusing sometimes, and we have three kinds of methods: instance, class, and static methods. So let's see a little of theory before going to the examples. Instance methods need a class instance and can access the instance through the self. So as you can see here, init will be an instance method because I pass here self. And class methods don't need a class instance. So we can access class methods just as we can access class variables without creating objects of this class. They can't access the instance. I mean, they can't access, for example, a.name or a.age because class methods can access the instance, but they have access to the class itself via this keyword CLS. It's short for class, and we're going to see an example of this later. Now, static methods don't have access neither to the class or to the self or to the instance. They work like regular functions but belong to the class's namespace. So let's see an example with this class called pizza. So we have here a class variable called default ingredients. So we're going to sell pizzas with these default ingredients. All of our pizzas will have cheese and ham. Now we're going to create some instance variables called diameter and extra ingredients. So the diameter will be whatever we pass here, and the extra ingredients, if you don't pass anything, that will be the default ingredients, but you can pass extra ingredients if you want. And we're going to define this instance method because we have a self here, so this is an instance method. And well, here I have an if and an else clause. It says here if we don't have extra ingredients, then assign to this variable, this is a local variable, assign the values of the default ingredients, else add those extra ingredients to the default ingredients, and then print this message. Your pizza has a diameter of whatever, and the ingredients are these ingredients here. So let's execute this, and I am going to create two instances of this class. So P1 will be our first pizza, and we're going to pass as a parameter 5, that's the diameter. And I'm not going to pass any extra ingredients, so this will be a pizza consisting only of cheese and ham. And then I am going to print this message here, and the second object will be 10, and I am going to add an extra ingredient, pepperoni. So let's see. In the first, I have your pizza has a diameter of 5 units and the ingredients are cheese and ham. And in the second, your pizza has a diameter of 10 and the ingredients are cheese, ham, and pepperoni. Okay, so let's see. I can access, remember, the class variables using the class name pizza, and I can also do the same, but using the instances of this class. So I have 3 outputs, they are the same. These are the default ingredients for all of the pizza class. Okay, so now I want to change these default ingredients. So I'm going to modify a little bit this class. Well, this is the same, but I am going to add a class method. So this class method is change default ingredients. So if you want to tell Python, hey, this is a class method, I have to add this decoration here. Okay, so I add this keyword, and then I start writing my class method. And as you can see here, it receives as a mandatory parameter the CLS. Well, it can be any other name, but CLS, it's the most used, and then you can add more parameters if you want. So CLS refers to this class pizza. So I'm going to say CLS.default ingredients now are these new default ingredients that I pass as a new parameter. So let's see. I'm going to first print the default ingredients. They are cheese and ham. And then I am going to change the default ingredients to tomatoes and salami. So let's see. And I am going to print again the default ingredients. So they are now tomatoes and salami. They are not cheese and ham. Now I'm going to sell or create another object of this class pizza, and I am going to say this new pizza has a diameter of 6 units, and I am going to add a new extra ingredient, pineapple. I am going to print the default ingredients and the extra ingredients. So as we change the default ingredients, they are now tomatoes and salami, and the extra ingredients is obviously the pineapple. So suppose I want to change the default ingredients with this instance of the class, and the default ingredients is now the extra ingredients I have in this pizza, which is pineapple. So let's see what are the new default ingredients. So the new default ingredient is only pineapple, and well, this is only an instance of a class. So that's why I say here that class methods can be dangerous, because suppose that creating an object of this class pizza is equivalent to selling a new pizza to a customer. So I have changed the whole business default ingredients just by selling one pizza. So that's why class methods can be very useful, but they have to be used wisely. So the manager says, okay, delete that class method because it has changed the whole business default ingredients. I don't want that to happen anymore. So I deleted that class method and I am going to rewrite this class pizza. So here we have the same. And the manager says, okay, I want a function that tells me what is the price of the pizza according to the diameter. So I have here a static method. How do I tell Python that this is a static method? I add this decorator here. And then the static methods don't receive as parameters neither self, nor the CLS parameter here. This is just like a regular function you would write outside this class. So it just receives as a parameter that diameter, and it tells you that if it is greater than 0 and less than or equal to 5, this is the price. And well, you have these prices here. And I have also an instance method that it receives as a parameter self, and it is going to calculate the price without having to pass this parameter here. So let's see what happens. I'm going also remember static methods don't need an instance of a class in order to work. So I can call this static method without creating an object. So if the diameter is 7, it will cost me $10 with 99 cents. Now I am going to create another instance of this class pizza. It's called P4. It will have a diameter of 5 and it will have extra ingredients, mushrooms. So the price, I can call this static method price, but I have to pass manually this diameter here. But I can also calculate the price of this pizza by calling this function automatic price, and here I won't have the necessity of passing this diameter. So let's see. I have two outputs. The first output corresponds to this call, and the second output corresponds to this call. So they are the same, but in this case I had to pass this parameter, and here I didn't have to pass any parameters because it's an instance method and it knows the diameter automatically. Okay, so as I told you, static methods are functions that you could like define outside the class. For example, I have this function price but outside the class. Very long name, but it does exactly the same as that static method. So if I call this function, it says your pizza cost this value here. So they are the same. This is equivalent to this static method here, but I don't have the necessity of writing this outside the class. I just say, hey, this is static method. It works just like this, but it is inside this class. So that's why, as I told you here, static methods work like regular functions but belong to the class's namespace. So they are like outside functions but inside this class. So that's everything. I hope you understand. These topics are very confusing at the first, but I hope you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. See you in the next video.